Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing great. Today we'll be learning how to cut and sew this beautiful blouse. This is a 2 years of Mikado fabric by 60 length. So if you love this and you want to know the whole details on cutting and sewing, please make sure you watch this video to the end. Don't skip any part. Thank you so very much guys. So this is my lining. I'll be cutting this with my lining because it's a white fabric. So the length of my blouse is 26 inches. So I'm taking the length of the blouse first. So after that, the next measurement I will take is my front neck depth, which is 3.5 inches. Then I will take on the shoulder line, I will take the neck width, which is 4 inches. So I will connect them together, the 3.5 inches and the 4 inches. So on my shoulder line, I will go ahead and take my shoulder measurement, which is 16 inches divided by 2. That will give me 8 inches. So on that 8 inches, I came down by 3/4 of an inch, and that will serve as my shoulder slope. So I will connect it to the neck width. So from that 3/4 inch, I will come down by 8 inches. Sorry, 8.5 inches, and this 8.5 inches will serve as her bust line. Can you see that? So that is her bust line right there. So on her bust line, I will take the same 8 inches. That's the same 8 inches. That is her shoulder divided by 2. So I will now connect the line to the shoulder. That will serve as our armhole line. So after that, the next measurements I will take is from her shoulder to her bust point, and I'm taking 11 inches for her bust point from her shoulder. So the next measurement I will take will be her under bust, which is 14.5 inches from her shoulder. Then I will go ahead and measure 17.5 inches. This is her half length. From her shoulder to her half length is 17.5 inches. So I will rule a line across. So that's all my vertical lines. So from the length of the blouse, which is 26 inches, I will now take her nipple to nipple measurement. So I will take this nipple to nipple measurement to the bust line. Her nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches, so I added 1/2 inch for sewing allowance. So I'll go to her hip line, which is also the length of the gown. I will take that of 1 inch for the both side. So I will come to her half length. I will take 2 inches in and 1¼ inches out. That's on the center front. I'm taking 1¼ while the side front is 2 inches. So I will take the same measurements on her under bust line. So I will connect the lines. So on her bust point, I came down by 1 inch. Then I went up by 3/4 of an inch. So this is to create space for the bust. So I'll go ahead and connect the curve. That's my dart curve from her under bust to the bust line. So I will come to her armhole line. I will divide the armhole line into 2. So on that midpoint of my armhole, I came down by 1 inch and I came up by 1 inch again. So on the down, the 1 inch down, I added 2 inches to it so that the side front will not be shorter than the center front when I'm joining it. So I will connect the down one to the side front, then the upper one to the center front. Can you see that? So this is my armhole darts. Please, whatever you don't understand about this tutorial, let me know in the comment section. So the next thing I will do is to take all her horizontal measurements. I will take her bust circumference divided by 4. Then I will add all the darts that I'm cutting out. So I will do the same thing to her half line. I have 3¼ inch darts on her half length. So I will add it, then I will take her round under bust divided by 4. So I will add that 3¼ inches to it. Then I will add my sewing allowance. So I will connect the line from her half length to the hip line, which is also the length of the blouse. Remember, the dart I have on my hip line is 1 inch, the down part. So I'll go ahead and divide my hip by 4. Then I will add the 2 inches dart to it. Then also remember to add your allowance, your sewing allowance. So that's what it is. This is the front part of my dress. So I'll go ahead and cut. I took my neckline measurements, but I'm not cutting it out now. I'll cut it out after joining, but I have to take the measurement for guide. This is for the front. Can you see? Please make sure you watch this video to the end so that you understand everything about this beautiful blouse. So this is the lining. I'll go ahead and cut the hairstay and the main fabric with it. So I'm done cutting the front. The next one is the back part of my blouse. So the first measurement I will take for the back part is my zip allowance, which is 1¼ inch. So I will take this 1¼ inch to the down part of my blouse, that is to the length of the blouse. ¼ zip allowance. So I will come to my shoulder line. I will take my neck width, which is 4 inches. I'm taking all the measurement now from the zip allowance line. So I will take 1 inch for the neck depth. Can you see that? So from that zip allowance, I will measure my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8 inches. So I will still come down on that 8 inches by 3/4 of an inch. I will connect the line to the neck width, and that will serve as my shoulder slope. So from that shoulder slope, I will come down by 8½ inches. This will serve as my bust line. So I will come to my center back. I will measure 9¼ inches. So that 9¼ inches is still the same thing if you measure it from the armhole side. So that 9¼ inch will now serve as my bust line for the back. So the next measurement I'm taking right now is my half length from my shoulder So I'm taking 17.5 inches for that. So I'll go ahead and connect all the lines. So on my bust line, I will take the same 8 inches. This 8 inches is the same measurement I took on my shoulder, which is my shoulder length divided by 2, 16 divided by 2. So I will connect it to the shoulder, and that will serve as my armhole line. So I'll go ahead and take my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 8 inches divided by 2, and that will give me 4 inches. So I will add half an inch for sewing allowance. So I will take that line on my hip line, which is the length of my gown, on my half length and my bust line. So I will connect it from the length of the gown to my bust line. So on my half length, I will take the dart. I'm taking that of half an inch on the both side. So I will go ahead and connect it to 1.5 inch below my bust line. So on my half length line towards the zip allowance, I have 1.25 inch for my zip allowance. I will measure 3/4 inch out, so it will now be remaining half an inch. So I will now connect it to both the down and the upper part of my blouse. This is to avoid zip bulge at the back. So I'll come to my armhole and I will divide it into 2, just as I did for the front. Then I will connect it, but here there is no armhole dart. So this is my side and my side back and my center back. So I'll go ahead and cut. Can you see how I'm cutting that zip part? So can you see the effect of that 3/4 inch that I measured? So I cut out half an inch from that line. So I'll go ahead and cut. I've cut out my center back. So this is my side back that I'm cutting now. So I'm done cutting the back. So I'll cut both the hairstay, the wedding. I will go wedding to the front part. Then I will go hairstay to all of them, both the lining. Can you see? So this is what it is. This is the front. I've joined the center front to the side front. So I've trimmed out the neckline. You already know how to take your last trimming. So I've already done that. So the next thing I will do is to create the keyhole. So I'll go ahead and fold my fabric. So from that 3.5 neckline, neck depth, I came down by 2 inches. So from that 2 inches, I measured 2.5 inches in. Can you see what I'm doing? That's from the center front. I went in by 2.5 inches. I came down by 2 inches from my neck depth, which is 3.5 inches. So what I have here now is 5 inches already. So from that 2 inches, I will take another 1.5 inch. So everything I have now is about, I think, 6.5 inches. Can you see? So on that 1.5 inch that I came down again, I will now connect it to the first 2 inches. Both the widths. Can you see what I'm doing? So this will now form a little sweethearts. I came down by 2 inches. So from the 2 inches, I came down again by 1.5 inch. Then I went in by 2.5 inches. So 2.5 inches is the width of my keyhole opening. So I will now cut it out. Can you see? So I'll do the same thing to the lining. Can you see the keyhole? It's very, very simple. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing to the lining, because I'll be using the lining to turn this part. So this is it for the front part. Can you see what it look like? So this is it. I've cut out the lining. So I use my pin to hold it. So that it doesn't shift when I'm stitching it. So this is what it look like. So I've turned it. I've turned the keyhole parts. So after stitching it around, the next thing I did was to top stitch on the lining. Can you see that? So I top stitch on the lining part. Remember to notch all the 4, it has 4 corners. So remember to notch all that part so that to be able to turn. So the next thing I did was to turn the neck with my bias. So this is the back part. I'm not turning the back neckline with bias, so I'm going to turn it with the lining. So I'm going to turn all the side. I will turn the zip area, I will turn the neck, then I will turn the side. I'll do the same thing to the front. Can you see? So I'll go ahead and give it a good press. After ironing, I'll go ahead and join the back, the zip area. I'll join it together. Then I will now join the shoulder, both the front and the back. After joining the shoulder, hem the down part with my bias too. So I'll go ahead and join the 2 sides, both the front and the back part. I'm joining everything together now. So after doing that, the next thing I did was to cut out that side, the side where I joined the flare. So I'm taking from the length of my blouse, I will now measure it to my half length. Can you see? That's from where I'm cutting it right now is my half length. Can you see? So from my dart line, I measured 1 inch in. So after cutting one side, I will now use what I cut out. I'll place it on the other side so that it has to be equal. So I'm using it to cut out this part. So this part I'm cutting out now is where I'm going to be attaching the flare. So I'll be taking the measurements round after cutting it out. So whatever I have here is what I will be using as my radius. So I think I have about 24 inches. So I'm going to divide that 24 inches by 6.28, and that will give me my radius for cutting my flare. Can you see? So I'm going to measure it round one side, then measure the other side. So I'll go ahead and cut my flare. So this is my flare. I'm cutting it as a full flare, so I'll fold it twice. So 24 inches divided by 6.28. That will serve as my radius. So that's what it is. So after that, from that my radius, I will now measure the length of my flay. I'm using 8 inches length for my flay. So this one I'm cutting now is for one side. I'll go ahead and cut another one for the other side. So it's just the same measurement. Can you see the two? So I will cut it. I will cut the main fabric, then I will cut hasty too. So I've cut it and I've torn it. So I added crinoline inside. How did I place it? I placed the fabric first, then I now place my lining, then I now place the crinoline on top. So after doing that, the next thing I did was to stitch them together, then top stitch on the lining and the crinoline. Sorry, I'm just rushing this video because it's already long. So this is my flay. I notched the midpoints of my flay. So I will start stitching from the side seam. So I will stitch from the side seam to the back, then from the other side seam to the front part. So after doing that, I will now trim it out. I didn't close the flay for now because after stitching on it, I have to cut out some parts before I will now lose it. I will lose that front part again. Can you see? So I trimmed it to the way it will suit the cloth, the blouse. Can you see? So what I will now do is to loosen it a little so that I will be able to turn it. I will be able to turn it again. Can you see what I'm doing? Then close that flay part. That's the end of the flay part. I'll do the same thing to both the front and the back part. So this one now is the center front. Please guys, remember to subscribe, remember to give this video a thumbs up, share this video so that others will see it and learn from it. So I'll go ahead and cut my cap sleeve. Can you see? So I'll go ahead and take 4.5 inches. This is the lining. I'm cutting it with the lining. Then on the down part, I will take 7 inches. So I will now connect the 4.5 inches. It's just like an arc. I didn't throw more light on the sleeve parts. Please, I'm sorry about that. This video was becoming long. So after cutting the first sleeve, I will go ahead and cut the second sleeve with the lining too. So this is, I'm using the first one to cut the second one. Remember the down part, the width is 7 inches. Then the upper part is 4.5 inches. So after cutting the lining, I will now cut out the main fabric. So I'll be using the lining to turn it. I'll be turning that 7.5 inches part because that is the part that will be around her bicep. Then the 4.5 inches part will be at the shoulder. Please guys, remember to give this video a thumbs up. The part I'm cutting now is the part I will stitch around her armhole, while this down part will be on her bicep. That's the width of her upper hand. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you are new to my channel. Thank you so very much guys for watching this video. Thank you for coming by. Please share this video with your colleagues, and please stay safe out there. See you in our next tutorial. Bye bye.